Uh, Good morning, Simon. For those of you joining us on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or whatever, my name's Tom, and I do some work with PTI, and I'm speaking today to PTI's Pastor Training International's Director of Ministry, Simon Percy, who, despite not leaving his house, recently took part in a conference overseas, which we'll hear about shortly. But obviously, we're all getting used to working with this kind of way of communicating with each other. Simon, how has COVID affected PTI's normal conference work?
Tom, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak with you and to share something about the work of PTI, especially during this time of COVID. Well, for those who perhaps don't know anything about Pastor Training International, that's the PTI, let me just say that today in Africa, around 33,000 new people will be added to the church. They'll come either by being born again or being born into Christian families. So 33,000 new people added to the church in Africa just today. That results in around 2,000 to 4,000 new churches a week. About 9 out of 10 of those pastors who pastor those churches will have no training. And Pastor Training International, PTI, is a mission that seeks to provide training for those many, many hundreds of pastors in Africa and in Asia. Now, the way we do that training is usually we send a couple of English pastors out, sent by their churches, people who are suitable people to do the training. And that training then takes place for a week in one location, a week in another location. But obviously, COVID has stopped practically all international travel, especially to these locations. And also COVID has affected many of the countries that are in that we go to. So they've been unable to have mass gatherings of any sort or conferences. So most of 2020, we've had to sort of stop doing the work. But now we're coming to 2021, although international travel is no longer possible at this point in time, we are seeking to press on and provide this training that is so vital by other means. Yeah.
So has COVID accelerated the kind of plan that PTI has to use more in-country trainers then? If we can't send people and we can only do limited stuff through the internet, how's that playing out?
Tom, that's right. So PTI's goal is to see the training that is currently being done by UK pastors to be done by local people. That is obviously the best way to do it. They know the language, they know the culture. So our aim is to train people so they can take over and do the role that we make ourselves redundant. It's following the instruction that Paul gave to Timothy in 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 2. Now, in many of our conferences already, the conferences is conducted by a couple of UK trainers, and usually there'll be input from somebody who's local as well. So that's already become part of the pattern, and it's increasingly becoming part of the pattern. But now with now with COVID, and we can't go out to these countries, we're working with these people who've often assisted already and saying, look, we'd like to equip you so you can do the whole conference, or as you just mentioned, sometimes we'll do a hybrid conference so that we can still have input from UK trainers over Zoom, and then some will be done by people in country as well.
Exciting. So I think last week or a week or so ago, you were doing some teaching on a hybrid conference. What was that like?
That was really encouraging. So in 2019, I was there physically in southern Uganda in a town called Mbarara, and I did training with Emmanuel Magambo, and we shared that training between us. But this year, Emmanuel Magambo was there. He's a Ugandan doing the training, and then he was joined by myself and by Gerald Tanner, and we did our training over Zoom. So the conference took place in a hotel, which had a good internet connection and reasonable power, and they got well fed, and they got somewhere to sleep each night, and then to have discussions and prayer and singing together. But we joined them for the teaching, and the way PTI works is that we have a curriculum that goes over 6 years. If you do a week's training in each location, it will take you 6 years. And the focus of that training is really on how to handle the Bible, how to teach and preach the Bible well. To do that, we have two components. We have a Bible overview, which keeps on reiterating that the Bible is one story from Genesis to Revelation. And then we have workshops which look at how to preach from different genres of scripture, such as letters, gospels, Old Testament narrative. A third component is to look at the importance of what God expects of a pastor, his life, what his role is, how to stay spiritually vital. So last week, when we were doing the training in Uganda, we looked at a Bible overview, which was called Christ in All the Scriptures, seeking to see how in all the Old Testament scriptures they're pointing towards Jesus. I did Gospels, and particularly we did workshops on how to preach from Mark's Gospel, and Emmanuel did the sessions on the pastor's role. What does God expect from a pastor? And they were absolutely excellent. There was good interaction, good workshops. The material came across well. It was lovely to see people who were there with me in 2019 there again doing the training. It went extremely well. We had just one power cut, which stopped the conference at one point in time from being over Zoom. But thankfully, that was actually at the same point in time as Emmanuel was doing his teaching, so it didn't really interrupt the training. The hotel had also got backup power, which meant that the power cut didn't go on for too long. And we had occasional drop out with the internet, but it would just drop out for less than a minute, and then we'd get the connection back again. So really, really helpful to be able to have that sort of hybrid sort of conference, and they enjoyed it, and we're very grateful for that. And I think what we'll see during the course of 2020 is some conferences are being entirely conducted by local people, which is the direction we want to go in, but also there'll be hybrid conferences as well, with where we've got good internet connection, we can join and assist in the training as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Simon. So how can we be praying for our brothers and sisters over in Uganda after the conference? What sort of happens next for them?
Once they've had the conference, they are at the moment a year before the next one, and that's something we're considering and trying to think about. And now we've got the curriculum, now we know what we do. Could we potentially do it more frequently, the sort of conferences, especially now we're looking for local people to do the training, and especially with things like this hybrid means. But in between conferences, we try to encourage them to join a preachers club, which will try to meet once a month. And at that once a month meeting, they will try and practice the skills again as to how to prepare a sermon from a particular passage. They will be given a book to read, or a couple of books to read, and we encourage that they read those books together, take a chapter, and then discuss it at that pastors' conference, and then also share and pray together, a bit like a fraternal would be. We really want to push those more, so that they keep doing that. They keep going on every month, meeting together, encouraging each other, sharpening each other with their skills. But as you can imagine, the spaces between the places people come from, the business of people's lives, means that they don't always get to those monthly meetings. But we really like to encourage more of them and pray for them to do that. Pray that in their own preaching, they will actually begin to, perhaps preach through some of Mark's Gospel and practice what they've learned from the workshops and how to prepare a sermon from a particular passage in Mark's Gospel.
Fantastic, thanks. And obviously we can't plan too far ahead at the moment. There's a lot of uncertainty, but are there any future planned hybrid conferences or online conferences or that kind of thing coming up that we can be praying for?
Yeah, Tom, we are praying very much that this year we'll see a good number of conferences taking place, the training continuing. So we're working with our brothers in Ghana, and because of the internet connection there, they will mainly be doing it themselves. but we will try to join occasionally in that conference there. And then we're working again with some further conferences in Uganda. Some of those may be hybrid, and some may have to be done entirely by the people in Uganda. Then we're working with our brothers in Pakistan and India to do the same there, and Nepal. And then we're trying to do the same in Southeast Asia in Myanmar, despite the coup. Amazingly, last night I was on a very good Zoom call with some people there, and they currently have a sort of a curfew from 8 o'clock in the evening until 4 o'clock in the morning, and people can't go out their houses. But if they've got an internet connection, then they could join a Zoom conference. So we're working on possibly doing some training in the evenings with our brothers in Myanmar, and then there'll be training again by both in-country people and hybrid conferences gobbling in Thailand. So things are going on, not as much as we would normally do in a year, but we're very grateful, and we're also very grateful for the acceleration towards using local people to do the training. Thank you. Keep praying.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Simon. Well, that's really encouraging. And there'll be links at the end of this video where you can find out more about the work of PCI. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Tom.